Que lo que, mi gente? Welcome to episode 62. Thank you guys for being such a loyal following. I want to applaud you guys. Vamos a ver si hay un sound effect that's going to help you applaud. Let me see. No, I don't think I have that. Oh, I do. Oh, that's not it. Well, you know, a lot of things been happening lately. Last week has been a crazy week. A lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. I never noticed, like, I think this is the one episode you're like, yo tengo que hablar. You know, last week was a fun week. I had a show Friday night at the comic strip. Everybody that showed up, like, a lot of people showed up for Junior. And he did his thing. And the funny thing is that I hosted that day, and I got into it like with a little comedian. And he's a funny. This kid was a funny comedian. I was hosting at the time, and I accidentally called him the wrong name. Right, the dude name was Nico. Yeah, I messed up his name again, but his name is Nico, right? And I accidentally was like, I called him Keto, right? And before I went on stage, they switched the first comedian 3 times, bro. 3 times. When you host, like, you bound to mess up, right? And when you're hosting, you not only think about your set, you have to get the crowd going and stuff like that. So before I went on stage, I already had in mind that it was supposed to be somebody else, and then they switched it to 3 different comedians. I was like, oh, okay. So I said what up to the guy before I went up on stage, and he was like, yo, just make sure you give my Netflix credit, right? And I was like, I want to make sure I don't forget his Netflix credit and his Comedy Central, right? I go on stage, bro, and I do my set, and at the end of the 10 minutes, I was like, yo, I could remember this guy's name. And then I'm trying to remember, like, outside, like, while I'm on stage, like, when you're on stage, you're done with your set, I remember to say, like, this guy's credit, like, he was on Netflix and he was on Comedy Central. And I was like, I just couldn't remember his name. And I'm trying to picture the billboard outside. And and I don't know why. I was like, oh, is it Nico? Is it Keto? Is it Nico? Keto? Bro, and I said, Keto. And I brought him up on stage and I saw his reaction. He was like this. He was like, and I was like, oh, that's not his name. That's not his name. And he went up on stage. He's like, yo, I don't know who he talking about. He should come on stage and say it again. And I'm like, and I was already off stage. And then he turned it into a joke, which was a hilarious joke. It was like, oh, he turned me into a light version of me. And I was like, yo, that's hilarious. He had a whole ass joke of me saying his name wrong. Killed it. And he's hilarious, funny ass comedian. Then he kills it, right? I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, you know what? When I go back on stage, it'll be hilarious. I'm calling him the wrong name again, right? But I was like, I went up on stage and I say, hey, everybody, give it up for Keto, and the whole room erupted. And they were laughing their ass off. And I was like, nah. Then I said his real name. I was like, no, I'm messing around with you, whatever. They knew I was joking. I'm messing around with you, give it up for Nico or whatnot. And they applauded him because he fucking did a phenomenal job. Hilarious. He killed it. Right? And whatnot. And I'm like, and I saw him, like, when I said that, I saw him like, oh, and ran out of the room. Right? And I'm thinking, like, yo, this is part of the act. I'm thinking that this is part of the show. Like, this guy is a great actor. But I'm also seeing him, like, having, like, a hissy fit. Like, this guy's walking in and out of the room. Like, he's walking in and out. And it's like, oh. And I'm like, I don't think he's that mad because I said his name wrong. I don't think it's that serious. Bruh. And I walked outside and I saw, like, his energy was like, and I was like, I'm like, there's no way that he's that pissed. Like, he just did a good job. He just murdered this room. And I was like, yo, I gave him a pound. And I felt like, you ever give somebody a pound, like, yo, great job, like, my bad. Like, there was, They switched the first comedian 3 times on me, like whatever. And he gave me a pound, like he held it a certain way, like this aggressive, like this energy, like this energy, like I was like, hold on, wait a minute. And he goes like, you know what? I was like, yo, my bad about whatever happened. He's like, I was fine with the first time, but the second time you did it, that's where I had a problem. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, let me tell you, like, bro, it's not that serious. And he's like, you know what? It is that serious to me. I'm like, is that serious to you? He didn't even look at me in my eyes. He was like pacing back and forth and whatnot. And I was like, you know what? You be all right. I just got pissed immediately because I was like, it's not that. My name is Gadiel Del Orbe. I got 40 years of people messing up my name. I never threw a hissy fit or like, I should have told them like, yo, I'm sorry I hurt your ego. And like, a lot of comedians, they just hurt their ego. Like, and the funny thing is that the guy was a hilarious comedian. I was like, yo, I would like to work with that guy. But after that energy of like the way that he was acting, like walking back and forth, like throwing a hissy fit like a little girl, like I'm also military. So that energy, once you give that energy, you're like, I'm gonna give you that energy right back. I think some people, like a lot of comedians have like this ego part of them, right? For me, when I went, bro, let me tell you, last time I went to Boston, I was brought in by the producer. You know how they introduced me on stage? Gadiel Del Orbe. I am not Gadiel. I didn't throw a hissy fit. I didn't throw that energy. I'm like, yo, this is an honest mistake. That's fine. It was funny. It's hilarious. Bro, so many times people call the name wrong and say it wrong afterwards. My name is Gadiel Del Orbe. People mess up my name for over 40 years, especially in this business. I don't expect people to get it right. You see what I'm saying? But it's not that I never threw a hissy fit. Right? I never acted like a little girl, like, oh my God, you said my name wrong. We're enemies. I'm like, I don't like that. And it kind of threw me off for the rest of the show. Right? Because, you want everybody to feel good. You want to bring up the comedians. You want the comedians to feel good. You want the crowd. The most important part about a show is to make sure the energy's going. You want to make sure everybody feels good. That you know what I mean? You're having a great time. But besides that, let me tell you something. I don't know why, but there was a part of me that I was just angry. Like, but I was able to you know what, blow it off. Let me not give this shit any more energy and let me focus on the show. And the show was phenomenal. Junior came up. He did his thing. And then y'all need to follow this one guy named Rashad. Rashad Bashir, he's been doing comedy for over 16 years. And he was not even supposed to be on the show. And I was like, you know what? Let's throw him up. Let's close off the show with him. My man, he was supposed to do like 10 minutes. He did 15 minutes of pure fire. If you guys want to follow something that he's doing a lot of great things on social media and he's killing it. He does impressions. Like, this guy's super funny comedian. One of my favorites, man. Rashad Bashir. You guys, I'm gonna bring him to the pod so you guys could get to know him. But no. And then this weekend was the Dominican Parade, bruh. The Dominican Parade. I didn't go. I'll be honest. I'm 39, but I'm gonna be 40, and I don't got that energy. I don't got that. Yo no tengo esa energía. Like, all my friends were like, Gadiel, are you coming? And then everybody wanted to go to the Café Colmado, and dance, dance a little bachata, a little bit of merengue. But I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't feeling it. But I spent that day cleaning and doing all that stuff, and I love being at the Dominican Parade. I love my Dominican people. And I know there's a lot of people going like, oh, man. There's something that happened in Dyckman. Somebody was killed. I think somebody was stabbed, and then somebody else was shot. And it's unfortunate that this happened in Dyckman. And these kids, if you're a Dominican kid watching right now, talk to your people. We need Gen Zers to come together and be like, what are we doing? Like there was Gen Zers standing on cars, ruining people's cars. Like those things, that's not cool. That was happening up in Dyckman. And those things that happen up there are people that are not from Dyckman. I just don't want people to think that this is how Dominican people are. Bro, Dominicans are the funnest people you could ever meet. You, me, a group of Dominicans, you're gonna have a great time because we know how to party. We play music, we play dominoes, we dance a little bit of bachata and merengue. Like we're loving people. We're people that care about having a good time. El can. We have a name for it. Un can. A hangout. So we hang out, we call it coro. We even have slang names because we like hanging out. We call it coro. Right? So I just don't want people to think like, yo, my God, Dominicans, we can't. Last year was embarrassing because it was something that happened in the Bronx. I think there was a stabbing in the Bronx. But what happened in Dyckman last week, RIP, whoever like lost their life that night because everybody went out to have a good time. And it's unfortunate something like that happened. And those people, I bet you those people that doesn't happen in Dyckman pretty often. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, like I'm 39 years old and sometimes you think about like, somebody's playing music outside. Sometimes you hear things like that, you're like, I thought these things were over. I think things have changed. I think the community has changed. Back in the day, it was like a little bit more crazier than what it is today. But I feel like also when you have poverty and the youth doesn't have a guide or good education, things like this are bound to happen. If we take care of the people, everything else will take care of itself. I just don't want people to think like, oh, Dominicans are like this. Dominicans are not like that. Dominicans are not violent people. We're not violent people. We're not. We're joyous people. Let me tell you something. You go to a Dominican and you tell a Dominican that you're hungry, that we have a thing that goes like, somebody asks you for food, you give it to them. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's how we grew up. We know how to take care. We take care of each other. We take care of people. And it's so hard that it sucks that with the Dominican Parade, because of the Dominican Parade, sometimes that shit overshadows like who we truly are. We're not like that, bro. I also want to give a shout out to Cris Sosa. He was on my last episode. You guys saw him, like he was on AGT. He killed it. All right. They had the callbacks episode, and this callbacks episode is that when they say yes to too many people, they have to grab a certain amount of people and they have to try out again to see if they're going to continue with the live shows. And Cris Sosa was part of the episode, and Cris killed it again. I am so proud of my boy. We had a little watch party at Broadway Comedy Club. Shout out to Broadway Comedy Club. And it felt good to see him on stage doing his thing again, bro. Like, he was so funny. Like, he's so charismatic. He has a lot of energy. Like, his act outs were perfect, right? Man, I like to see my guy shine. So make sure, if you guys haven't seen AGT, make sure you guys watch it. Watch the callbacks episode. Shout out to Cris Sosa. If you don't follow Cris Sosa, make sure you follow him. I think it's Cristino Sosa, whatever. So, yeah. As you can see, there's been a lot of things going on. As you can see, there's a lot of things I'm covering. I should be in, matter of fact, this Saturday I'm going to be up in Boston. So el que está en Boston y quiere verme, yo amo estar ahí. Boston. Shout out to, I think I'm supposed to be there. I'm going to hit her back up and see what's going on, the producer. I'm going to tell her, don't call me Gadiel. Because if not, I'm going to have a hissy fit. And I'm going to act like a little girl. I'm gonna, oh my God. Bro, like, the funny thing is that a lot of these dudes that have like this ego, right? In the military, you know what they used to call me? Chicks. That was in boot camp. I went through all of boot camp of everybody called me chicks. And you know why? Because it was like, so there was ones where like, yo, we got to stomp. Like, we had to come up with a chant, and we came up with a chant, right? And the drill instructor, how people say, we call it petty officer. He was like, Gadiel Del Orbe, you know why we have to stomp hard? And I was like, You know why we need to stomp hard when we do our chants? I was like, because there's chicks downstairs. He said, what? And I was like, there's chicks downstairs. And there was like a female platoon downstairs. And everybody else, all my guys laughed. And he did not laugh. And then all the other petty officers came over like, what do you say? That there's chicks downstairs? I was like, yes, petty officer. And I was proud of myself. And he was like, okay, since there's chicks downstairs, he get on your face. And he made me do push-ups, and he called downstairs, and all the petty officers, the drill instructors downstairs were all female. And they took me downstairs. I went down there. They're like, oh, you're the recruit that calls us chicks, huh? You see nothing but chicks here? And they were like all female petty officers. All the drill instructors were all female. And they were like, huh, you think we're chicks? I'm like, no, petty officer, I don't think you're a chick. I don't think you're a chick. Bro, they beat me. They beat me for like an hour straight. That's what it felt like. And yo, they had me do like these swim. I was on the floor doing like these little swim things. I forgot, and they call it the little submarine. And you cannot touch your arms, and your feet cannot touch the ground, and you gotta act like you're swimming on the ground. And I had to be like, please, Mr. Shark. And there was a lot. Like, the place was like, I'm talking about. There's 100 women watching me, getting my ass beat, and I have to yell. I have to sing, please, Mr. Shark, don't eat me. I will never say chicks again. Bruh. I'm not gonna lie. That was the most embarrassing moment of my life. They had me doing mountain climbers. They had me doing push-ups. They had me, and then every time, like, the girl, she had a stick. She's tapped it on the ground. Every time she tapped it on the ground, I had to do something completely different. Like, I got my ass beat. And when they like, in the military, they destroy your ego. That ego stuff about a name and stuff like that, they destroy it. Because they go like, the rest of boot camp, they were calling me chick. Hey, chicks, come over here, chicks. You know, I had to go, yes, petty officer. And I also had this ego, this Dominican ego. I had to be like, chicks. You know, I would not respond. Did it not call you? Huh, chicks, get on the ground. I'm like, every time I say chicks and I call you, that's your new name. You respond. Man, I think boot camp was like 2 months. Man, I spent those 2 months being called chicks. I never called a female a chick in my life again. I'll never do that ever again. I hear the word chicks. Oh, that's how bad they beat me. And when they call it beating, it's just crazy exercises that you're there. It was hours. As a matter of fact, I remember I was like, when I hit boot camp, boot camp was done. After that, you had to go to A school. And in A school, that's when you're training for the job. And there were girls that were part of that. When that happened, somebody took a picture of me, like a hidden picture of me. And they started sending to each other. I'm like, hey, isn't that the chicks guy? Bruh. Yeah. So I'm like, so when it comes to stuff like that, I'm like, yo, I've been through it. I've been through the military. I've been through worse things like that. That's how come, like, when people call me the wrong name, I don't throw a hissy fit. Like, nothing will top that. You know, people call me the wrong name all the time. Also, I expect that my name is Gadiel Del Orbe. Nobody pronounces correctly. Gadiel Del Orbe. I don't expect people to roll their R's. Bruh, this is fucking nuts. No. Well, this was an update of my life. And I hope everybody's doing well. Like, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I don't know how this was like a weird episode. Was it weird? I don't fucking know. I do appreciate everybody that comes back week after week. I was gonna record last night, but last night I was feeling a certain type of way, you know, and But this morning, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I record this morning for my people that stay tuned, that are always showing love. I really appreciate you guys for listening to my ass for over a year. I want to bring more guests that I care about. Also, write in the comments who you want me to bring, who you want me to talk to, right? What topics do you guys like the most? And I know I stutter a lot, but I'm keeping that shit in there because that's what it is. But all the people that rock with me for so many years. I've been doing live streaming on Twitch, so you're gonna see more of that. I like gaming, so I'm learning more. I'm getting more into it, and I want to give a shout out to Passion for being here, and Paola for always showing love and writing in the comments. Everybody that write in the comments, I read them, and everybody that downloaded the podcast that still stuck with me and want to see me live. If you want to see me live, send me a DM. I want to know who you are. I want to get to know you. Okay? Bueno, I'm about to get going. Lo quiero mucho. I'll be back next week with more stories and more craziness. Lo quiero mucho. Que la pase bien. 3 hugs, 2 kisses, and 1 love.